So that was a Raw. And probably in a good way, it's actually not too bad a show this week. Probably because it's saved by the fact that the Shield actually exists. So yes, let's get straight into it. So they recapped the whole Miz and the Bar doing the Shield thing from last week, and Miz and Axel are out for Miz TV, and it's time for part 2 of the Mizzies. Because apparently we needed a part 2. So, last week it was all about the A-lister becoming the guy, but he didn't do it alone, so this is where the recognition comes in. So for perseverance, there's an award for Curtis Axel, who then dedicates it to Bo Dallas. I don't know whether he was ill or something, or whether he was injured, but he certainly wasn't there tonight. And then for Best Supporting Actor, and it went to a tie once again, with the Bar winning it. And they come out and thank everybody, but also especially Ambrose and Rollins, and certainly in Cesaro's case, Rollins smashing his teeth into his gums. It was the motivation for us to prove that we don't just raise the bar, we are the bar and all that. And then it's like, oh, look, everybody's talking about, oh, the Shield's coming back. Let's be honest. We've done what nobody's done. Let's take out Roman Reigns. So the final award is going to the true big dog of WWE. And that's Miz. And dedicates it to his unborn kid. And to anybody that needs a new role model. And then Roman Reigns music hits. And it's like, oh God. And admittedly, the crowd were cheering to some extent for this one. What a difference a stable makes. Way more cheering than there was booing this time around. And Roman says, just get out my ring. And Miz goes, you're all about the hype and the rumours with that whole Shield thing. And Roman just goes, who said anything about rumours? Dean comes out. Seth comes out. They all walk down the ramp together, climb on the apron just like the olden days, circle the ring, take out Axel and the Bar with like rebound clotheslines and King's Landings and Superman punches and everything. And then they just turn their attention to Miz. And Miz is like, guys, let's do this another time. And Seth and Dean catch him. Dean hits him with Dirty Deeds. And then they do the Shield bomb, the triple power bomb, whatever you want to call it, on Miz in the ring. And then they finally put the fists together. The Shield is back. Then we get, is Sister Abigail alive? The answer is no. And on SmackDown, we're getting, I guess, Sammy's explanation as to why he did what he did. And then also AJ getting his US title rematch against Baron Corbin. Could be an interesting show. First, the 2 Susan G. Komen video packages. The first one, of course, doing the whole Warrior thing. It's like, good job, guys. Wait until one of the big mainstream media picks up that. You have to get dicks out giving. So then we got Jason Jordan against Carl Anderson. This is all culminating from last week and everything and that whole nerd stuff. Jason got the win with his neckbreaker finisher. Pretty decent match, I will say. Then we got Elias backstage, who's going to be out next. Before that, when we get back from commercial, Miz is being checked by the medics, and Kurt comes in to check on him and says, look, I told you to be careful what you wish for, but you wanted the spotlight, I'm giving it you, because you get in the main event of TLC. It's going to be you, Sheamus and Cesaro, against the Shield, in a TLC match. And Miz isn't happy. So, you know, who wants to walk with Elias? Probably nobody. Just a guess. Just an ever so slight guess. He runs down Indianapolis saying, you know, Apollo Crews' opponent tonight has been running rings and round him, but all he sees is just going round in left turns with no direction. And Titus is misguiding him. And he goes to start his song, except we're hearing guitar strings as well as banjo strings. And out comes Titus with a banjo and does a terrible song, if you want to call it that, because the banjo wasn't tuned up. His singing wasn't even in right with the audio that happened. I don't know. The match happens. Apollo Crews loses. Elias wins with Drift Away again. Will it ever end? So then Enzo makes his way out. He's got a gripe with Kurt, you know, saying how he had the entire roster barred from attacking him. Somehow Kalisto gets a pass. Now he gets a title shot at TLC. And, you know, the fact is, Kurt must be doing nothing important at the minute, so he wants him to come out and explain himself, and Kurt comes out. And Enzo's just like, how can Kalisto do what he did? And Kurt just says, look, that ban on the no contact stuff was signed before I signed Kalisto. So he wasn't part of the roster at the time of the other one. So, you know, that's how. And Enzo's like, well, I got caught. I got done like a kipper. It's only fair, me as your champ and me as your guy, that I'd be treated right and get things my own way. And Kurt says, okay, fine. You're not defending the title at TLC. You're defending it tonight. And Enzo's like, okay, but as long as it's the main event. And Kurt goes to leave and then stops at the top of the ramp and goes, on second thoughts, knowing how you're going to try and get out of it with either a DQ or a count out, there ain't going to be that happening, because I'm going to make sure that the no contact clause expires, or sorry, is put on hold for one night only, because we're going to have a lumberjack match and the rest of the 205 Live roster is going to be the lumberjacks. The omens are good, people. So, here comes Braun. He's taking on Matt Hardy. And they built this relatively good. There was a bit when Hardy was about to win with a twist of fate, but didn't. But it wasn't like, although it was a squash match in all essence, there was enough of a Hardy momentum to actually see it as more of a, less of a obvious squash match. But you sort of knew Braun was winning, with a running power slam, of course. And afterwards, Braun drags Matt up the ramp. He's going to do something with him. And then here come the Shield in new Shield t-shirts. And Braun brawls with them. They brawl back. Manage to take him out with a spear and whatever. They tear up the commentator's desk. Pick up Braun and Shield bomb him through the announce table. I think we clarified the Shield are here. So they recap that when they come back from the ads, and they're backstage with Charlie, and you know, they're hyped up and everything, and they basically cut off Charlie and says, hello. And Roman does a line like, we're the three faces that run this company now. Like, And Seth's just like, you can believe that. And like, wow. He sounds better because he's part of a group rather than solo. That's weird. So here comes Mickie James and says, look, when I came in here, I didn't feel that I belonged back in the WWE roster. And to be honest, that's all Alexa's fault, because she's been making all the jokes and pranks to make cheap shots behind her back. But that's the thing, it was always behind her back rather than to her face. She had a chance to do it last week, but she just hid behind her bodyguard. And then in terms of that bodyguard, she had her beat in a match last week, and Alexa decided to attack her. Now it's time for Bliss to get out of her booster seat and put on some big girl pants. Mickey's excited because she knows in a couple of weeks she'll become a 7-time WWE Women's Champ. She sort of gets cut off, not exactly, by Alexa Bliss with this, and Alexa's like, look, I'm sorry, and I want to make it up to you, so I put together a video package marking all the highlights of your career. And it's the old footage, but they put a black and white filter on it, and like 1920s sort of like rinky-dink piano music. And a voice that sounds like this. As if it's one of those old infomercials from the 30s or 40s. And Alexa's just like, oh, Grandma, it's past your bedtime. And Mickey's just like, okay, get your biscuit butt down here. And the biscuit butt chance happens. I think biscuit butt could be a good thing. Not for her, but it could be a thing that now becomes a trending thing, because that is a round ass. Pretty much biscuit butt. Mickey says, come on down. Fight me. And Alexa's like, maybe I will. And gets to sort of the ringside area and just goes, no, that's way too old a thing to do. And goes to leave. And Mickey just grabs her, throws her in the ring, gets her sort of in the Lou Thesz sort of press punch combo style. Goes for the Mick kick. Bliss escapes and heads up the ramp. So then they have the video package for Asuka. And Kurt's excited, and Bayley and Sasha there, and they both want a shot at Asuka at TLC. And then Alicia Fox comes in, and I'm like, fuck off. Fuck off. And then Dana Brooke. Ditto what I said to Alicia Fox. And then Emma comes in. And it's like, no, let's have that happen because it makes sense. Because whoever's winning this match is losing. And Kurt says, okay, it's a fatal 5-way. Whoever wins gets Asuka at TLC. So then we have a cruiserweight match. Cedric Alexander and Mustafa Ali versus the Brian Kendrick and Jack Gallagher. An okay match. To some extent. Kendrick winning with sliced bread number 2 on Mustafa Ali. Then we have Hispanic Heritage Month, marking some Mexican soccer commentator. Then they recap the Shield moments again. And Miz is approaching Angle again, and Angle's like, I guess you're here because you want the match cancelled, right? And Miz goes, no, on the contrary. You know, Dean, in the interview with Charlie, said, it don't matter if we fight 3, 4, or 5 men. So, I'm putting in a request. I'd like to make this a 4-on-3 handicap match. And Angle's like, okay, but who's your partner? And Miz is like, oh, don't worry, I've already found my partner. And they look at the bloody door for about 7 seconds. It's just like, okay, somebody missed the cue. And then Braun basically kicks the door open and comes in, and he's just pissed. So I guess 4-on-3 handicap match. This is how we build Strowman because Lesnar can't be asked to do anything. And then we get Finn Balor and saying, you know, Wyatt's a poison, a virus that keeps mutating with more lies and games and everything. You know. Bray's desperate to put fear into everybody, play his mind games, but the fans aren't afraid of him. I'm not afraid of him. The Demon's not afraid of him. Nobody is. Death! And then here comes Wyatt. He sits down, on the Tron, sits down in the rocking chair and says, "You may not be afraid of me, but you will be afraid of her. You know, she was young, she was beautiful, but she knew the truth, and because of that, they feared her. They turned her into some sort of monster, and I was there when she took her final breath, and she chose me, and together we promised we'd make everybody burn. And now the season of the witch is upon you, Finn. And she's here," and then the video morphs into Bray Wyatt with black and white face paint, a sort of see-through black veil, and a voice that sounds like one of those Darth Vader toys. Because the problem is, rather than sounding like an actual female voice, it's just, at certain bits, you can just hear his voice because it's that powerful. And then there's something that's an octave higher, and they combine, and apparently it's scary. More like fucking terrible. Either way, and the thing is, what's said here is brilliant. It's just I can't take the bloody portrayal of... I don't know whether this is Stephanie's transgender thing, and they think this represents transgender, because he's basically becoming a woman in this persona. In which case, Jesus... You know, you men are all the same. You want to control everything. Bray's different, though. He's special. You know, I taught him that the world is an evil place, and I taught him the secrets, and taught him the darkness is so much stronger than the light, and I'll always be there by his side. You know, my sweet, innocent Bray, my sweet prince. He wouldn't harm a fly, but just... Look what you did to him. You hurt him, you lied to him, so you and your demon must be punished. And don't worry, I know a lot about demons. I can turn them into pretty little dandelions. You know, I'm worse than anything that you've read of in your mythology books and all that. My touch could have dreamed you, Finn. My kiss will burn you to the ground. And Abigail cackles, and then it morphs back into Bray Wyatt cackling. And it's a good promo, but just the way it was executed with the Sister Abigail thing, no. That's nearly up there with Jim Cornette pulling his dick out. No. So then the 5-way. Jesus. This turned out to be an elimination match, which even the commentators weren't told of. Great job. So Dana Brooks out first, pinned by Bayley after a Bayley to belly. Then Alicia Fox managed to pin Bayley with an axe kick. And the crowd's just like... I don't know whether it's because they're behind Bayley, or more that, wait, somebody that can wrestle, okay, they're not given much of a chance to because WWE's being stupid bookers, but you let somebody that actually is a decent wrestler job to somebody that's been their company for a decade and is terrible right now. The reason why I say that is because when they came back from commercial, Sasha managed to hit the bank statement. And Alicia, in her tapping, rather than do it sort of like fast, she just does it sort of slow. And the referee basically realizes, oh wait, that's supposed to be a submission. Okay, that's it, and trying to break it up. She was just like tapping like that. Which normally, if you see people do that, it's trying to sort of G them up and everything. But with her, it was just like, it wasn't like sort of fast, like as if it was a tap out. It was just like slow as all hell. None of that even mattered though, because the Oklahoma side roll was executed on Sasha by Emma, and Emma wins. Emma's about to job to Asuka. Then Balor did an interview with Renee and said, you know, Bray has unleashed something truly evil, and those words that Sister Abigail said, I was truly afraid of them. They went through my veins and all that. The fact is, the matter is, though, I now know what I must do. Yeah, go to a Dollar Tree, get some shitty Halloween makeup, get some sort of veil from a wedding shop, and get one of those Darth Vader or Snoke voice changers, I don't know what's out there, or even the Optimus Prime, and use that. Because reasons. Next week, for Raw, we've got Reigns versus Strowman inside a steel cage. Pretty interesting. They've also confirmed that on 205 Live tomorrow, we're getting TJP versus Rich Swann again. Then we have an interview with Kalisto, and says that when he was a kid, you know, Rey Mysterio and Eddie Guerrero inspired him to make his dream a reality and be a great cruiserweight. And then, you know, Enzo became the champion of this brand. Which is a slap in the face to everybody. You know, it's time to make Rey and Eddie proud. If it wasn't for Cole or Corey, I can't even remember which, mentioning during this match that Eddie Guerrero's birthday would have been today. Yet alone, the fact he would have been 50. I don't think they even mentioned the actual age. They just said it would have been his birthday. Like, brilliant job. Not. So then the cruiserweights came out. And actually, come to think of it, there was 3 or 4 different replays with Shield moments. The first one just had the opening segment, and then the second and the third time we saw it included what happened with Braun Strowman. Because apparently we need to replay that over and over again. I don't know why people will just replay it over and over again on YouTube. You don't need to fill time. Seriously. Pretty decent match. Enzo wasn't extraordinary, really. There were some pretty damn good spots, though. I will say, towards the end, but all in all, sort of an average to okay match. Because Enzo just isn't really a cruiserweight in terms of his approach to wrestling. The big bit started coming when the Lumberjacks got into sort of a massive brawl with each other on the outside, and Kalisto decided to superplex Enzo out of the ring, off the turnbuckle, down into the crowd and whatever. Then Enzo sort of Well, no, Kalisto's going for Selena Del Sol. Enzo manages to get out of it, hits the eat defeat and whatever. He's about to win, but Mustafa Ali pulls Enzo out of the ring. And Enzo's incensed and gives him a damn old vicious clothesline. Sort of makes Kalisto lose balance, so he crotches himself on the turnbuckle. He goes up, looks as if he's trying to sort of suplex him off the top, but instead Kalisto escapes it, delivers a technically second rope, but certainly a super Selena Del Sol, if you want to call it that. 1, 2, 3. Kalisto is the new champion. The faces celebrate with him. The heels that don't like Enzo are sort of smiling as if to go, there's some respect to this division now. And Enzo's basically dead. And that's how Raw ended. So, a lot of interesting moments, I will say. As I move again, because I've moved position. A lot of interesting moments. But, again, it felt like it didn't need to go 3 hours. You sort of felt that when they did what they delivered with in terms of the Bray Wyatt thing, that was sort of the last thing they wanted people to see. If they were there for the 2 hours, then again they probably left early because it just so happened at that time that the Star Wars Last Jedi trailer dropped. So, who knows? Either way, that's your Raw review from me. There was some other video that I think Owen put up. I'm not sure what went on with that, but that's up there for you to enjoy as well. There will be some indie stuff from me. There will be some new stuff. There'll be some UFC stuff somewhere in them. There'll be some TV recaps. We're going to get back on the wagon in terms of that stuff as we roll onwards, because it's a busy few weeks, because we've got the Ring of Honor stuff coming up this weekend. The following weekend we've got TLC. The weekend after that might actually be a free week. But then we've got Bound for Glory, New Japan show, and the UFC Madison Square Garden show, all within about a 24 to 36 hour period. Actually, come to think of it, if you include the pay-per-view bit, probably somewhere just over 24 hours, give or take. Because 10 p.m. Eastern through to like 11 p.m. Eastern when Bound for Glory finishes. That's what seems to be going down. So, we've got all that coming up over the upcoming weeks. The gaming stuff, I would go into the loot boxes stuff, but there's plenty of other very qualified people on YouTube like Sid Alpha and Total Biscuit that are doing much more than I could say on it. At least for the time being. There might be some other stuff that will crop up over the week, so you never know. Check out AJ's movie reviews. I don't know whether Owen's doing any more Sip and Snacks. I know I've got some in the can that I've recorded. I'm probably going to be recording some more, because I did pick up some stuff. More stuff. So all that was coming. But with that, that's all from me. I guess I'll be seeing you next time. Probably. Just look up and to the right, please.